Robert F. Kennedy answered Joe Biden. He says Biden has bullied social media companies from the beginning to silence anything he had to say.
He began censoring me 37 hours after he took the oath of office, swearing to defend the Constitution. White House officials were on email with Facebook saying to them, you got to take down his post. Facebook actually pushed back and saying there's no misinformation here. This is actually what he's saying is accurate. And they had to make up a new term called malinformation, which is information that is accurate but nonetheless inconvenient to, politically inconvenient.
A resident of California warns a new wage law for some fast food restaurants will do more harm than good.
At the beginning of this year, the minimum wage in California moved up to $16 an hour. But a new law that took effect this week requires certain fast food restaurants to pay at least $20 an hour. This is for restaurants that are part of a chain of at least 60 establishments nationwide. Stephen Greenhut, Western Region Director for the R Street Institute, says this won't sit well with managers.
No, shift manager, assistant manager is going to want to get more than the wage of just a shift worker. So it's going to drive wages all the way up, really right up the chain.
Meanwhile, Greenhut says fast food restaurants that are not required to pay $20 an hour will have to increase their pay to get and keep workers.
And I think we're going to see an acceleration towards these mechanized kiosks.
Whatever the case may be, Greenhut adds that restaurants will try passing on expenses to customers, but that's assuming customers will want to fork over even more money. I'm Chris Woodward.
For American Family News, I'm Rusty Pugh.
Well, ready or not, it's Tuesday night. I haven't been here since Saturday night, so took a couple days off, and it was okay, yeah. But I'm here for the duration. You're listening to Far Out with Nick at Night. Yes, First Amendment Radio out. Good to see anybody in the chat room, especially if it's genetic modification. And Jesuit Fiend says he can hear me now. Oh, was I muted? Yes, I was muted before I spoke. So you missed absolutely nothing this time around. Okay, well, what do we got today? What in the world is going on out there? Will we survive? Will America survive? So much going on out there, and so many things to look at. But I would rather laugh first, or is it he who laughs last? Okay, let's look at Babylon Bee first. I've got something here, from Babylon Bee. Haven't looked at it yet, so we're going to be looking at it together for the very first time. Yes, indeed. See, Babylon Bee. 17 more Babylon Bee headlines from Bible Times. If they had printing presses and newspapers back then, this is what it would have been. I guess then it was all word of mouth, or like did the emperor or Herod post postings for the people out there with headlines. How did they do news? I guess it must have been all by word of mouth. I guess very important to go to synagogue. Okay, layman healed by Christ, disappointed. He now has to walk everywhere. That's right, he's getting carried around. Either that or didn't have someone to carry him. I guess he just crawled. see any ancient wheelchair fossils anywhere. Okay, what else do we got? Joseph, Mary, jailed for failing to pay gift taxes on gold, frankincense, and myrrh. Yes, that stuff they received before they ran off to Egypt. I was wondered why they ran off to Egypt. No, just kidding. I read the book. I know why they went, but did they evade taxes on the way? And 17 more B headlines from the Bible. Well, thought-provoking anyway. Let's take a look. We got time. We got all night. So come on over to the chat room. If you want to text me directly with a comment, question, anything, right there. Because, once these chat rooms get moving so fast, I can't keep up. So if you want to get a hold of me, you can call that number too. That's our new call-in line. I still haven't had it changed on the website. Been trying to get a hold of my web guy, but he's too busy. So, but one of these days he'll get around to it. Yeah, those round to it's are hard to come by. Just ask anyone. Let's see. Oh, yes, I clicked on it and it came up. That's right. So let's see what it's. It's hard to believe, but the Babylon Bee was only created in 2016. It may surprise you to know that Moses has never heard of us, which is too bad because he could have used a laugh while wandering in the wilderness for 40 years. And just imagine King Solomon in his wisdom seeking out bee headlines to help cope with the stress of 700 wives nagging at him. Yeah. Here's what we might have written if we lived back in the Bible days. Old Testament. Talking serpent in Garden of Eden added to panel of The View. I like it. Yeah, that's funny. That's very funny. See what else they got here. People of Babel fined for building tower without proper permits. Oh, if only. Yes. Yes, the fine was pretty heavy, I hear. Yeah. Yes, they all lost their voices. Talk about what do you call it? What do you call it if it's not free speech? Oh, censorship. That's it. That's the word I was. Yes, God imposed a censorship on them. They couldn't understand what each other was saying. So, yeah. Okay. First transgender day of visibility. I mean, you'd think they could think up a catchier name, especially if they want to replace Resurrection Sunday or Easter. Yeah. They could use a catchier name. Interrupted by freak storm of fire and brimstone. That must have been at Sodom and Gomorrah. Their first transgender day of visibility was interrupted by a freak storm of fire and brimstone. These are pretty good. I like these. Yes. Good to see you there, Verity from Alberta, Canada. Thanks for showing up. Okay. See, Abraham's servant asked if he can just pinky promise instead of swearing by his inner thigh. Yeah, I don't know what the inner thigh thing is, but pinky promise. Okay, moving on. Conspiracy theorists, Alexei Jonas stoned for saying Jericho was an inside job. Thinking about that one. No, I don't get it. If you get it, give me a clue. Okay, wife upset at husband, always off sacking Philistine villages. Doesn't help out enough at home. I think they use the best ones up right at the top, but let's stick with it. Maybe we'll find out another one here. Sansom just got a haircut, and you won't believe what he looks like now. Another dud. Okay, Philistines call out for common sense sling control following death of Goliath. Yes, I can see that one. Common sense sling control. Yes, following death of Goliath. All right. Still getting through the Old Testament times here. I've up yeah. We'll see. Israelites groan as David adds unnecessary chorus to Song of Moses. Okay, moving on. A prophet asks God if he really needs to travel for 3 weeks just to say a couple sentences. What's he going to do? Email him? Send him a wire, a telegram, or something? Yeah. Yes, Jonah, it's necessary that you travel. Oh, was that Jonah? Didn't say, but I'm just guessing it was Jonah. Because it was, after being tossed off a ship and swallowed by a whale and finally spit out on the right beach, I'm guessing that must have took at least 3 weeks. Okay. Nehemiah says he will build wall. Make Persia pay for it. There you go. Wow. How fitting. If only. Yes, if only. All right, New Testament. Joseph, Mary, jailed for failing to pay gift taxes on gold, frankincense, and myrrh. Oh, that's the one they opened with. And what else we got? Synagogue keyboardist plays drawn-out worship chord as Jesus rolls up Isaiah's scroll. Okay. Layman healed by Christ, disappointed he now has to walk everywhere. Yeah, they repeated that one there. Learn how to earn 30 pieces of silver with this one cool trick. Nah, not really funny. Okay, Sweating Timothy asked Paul if they can just tell people he's circumcised. That's right. Can't we just tell them I am? Do I have to really do it? Boy, he's probably walking funny for a couple days at least. Okay, and finally, Book of Revelation predicts apocalyptic hellscape of California. So I'm not sure California was a word back then, but yes. And aren't we glad that's over? The first few were pretty hilarious. Yeah, the first few Old Testament ones, I like those. Indeed. So we'll move on to whatever's next here. See what else we got. 4D chess. Trump makes Mar-a-Lago worth $50 million by hanging up 3 Hunter Biden paintings. Hunter Biden paintings, huh? Yeah, I'll bet you they're worth something. Yeah, collector's items, I guess. Well, I mean, what's he going to do when he gets to prison? Probably painting? I'm just guessing. Oh, but that's right, his father's president. If he lives long enough, he'll commute his sentence or something, right? Okay, what else we got? Okay. Let's see. Hilarious April Fool's joke. Congress announces they are working hard to serve the American people. Yeah, that would be an April Fool's joke. I did wake up. It was yesterday morning. And the first thing I read was that gold had jumped up to $5,000 an ounce. As I was reading this article, it started to dawn on me that, this is probably just a joke. But I had to go over to Kitco just to make sure. Yeah, it was a joke. And saw quite a few good jokes there on April 1st. Okay, next. Okay, let's see. Desperate bid to save cultural Christianity. Dawkins died, WWJD bracelet, and Christian Novelty Church. shirt. Dawkins, Dawns, yeah, WWJD bracelet. So he's the atheist, right? But in a desperate bid to save cultural Christianity. Yeah, I heard about that. I'm not surprised that the atheists are are bidding to save cultural Christianity, because they know without cultural Christianity, yes, things will not be well. So the atheists, tell on themselves. Maybe, just maybe, it's time to pray for the atheists, because they don't want to lose cultural Christianity. They are sincerely afraid of what the culture would be like without it. And I guess the whole world is finding out, aren't they? You know, God blessed us at the end of the Antichrist 1260-year reign with cultural Christianity and the Great Awakening. Let's see, 200 years of the gospel message going around the earth, missionary projects for 200 years during the 19th and 20th centuries. Yeah, God did that. And it even said in the Revelation that was going to happen after the Antichrist was punished. But then it also says that the Antichrist's purportedly deadly head wound would be healed. And it has been. And now we are seeing the result of that head healing and his grasp for power being restored in the world today. All foretold in the scripture. That's right. All foretold by the historicists. You know, so if you read your Hore Apocalypticae, or say my exposition of the Revelation, which is in the view of Reformed premillennial historicism for the 21st century, of course, then you would have an idea of how prophecy foretold all these things. Well, we're getting near the end now, and God's blessings that he poured out on the earth after he allowed the Antichrist to be wounded, the head to be wounded, as foretold in the scripture. Yeah, what a blessing it's been. And we have been the recipients of that, people my age and some older, yeah, and people who have enjoyed the blessings that we have here in America, and the blessings that have circled the world from the gospel and cultural Christianity that came with it. God clearly demonstrated how much better life is if it's patterned after his kingdom, even in an imperfect world. So what can we do? We can pray for Dawkins, the realization he's afraid of what he sees coming on the earth and the loss of cultural Christianity. So that's what this satire is all about here. Church of Christ Grand Council declares air guitar okay during worship. Yeah. So we're losing it, and the churches, you know, the physical church, the visible church on earth is losing it too. But Jesus, when he left, before he left, he did say, I will build my church. And he did, and he has been, and he still is. Yeah. He's not going to lose one that the Father gives him. And I'm glad to say that I am one, and I'm glad that you all are one too, that the Father has given him. He won't lose any of us. We have nothing to worry about, all of us who are in Christ, the elect, purchased by the blood of the Lamb. Okay, let's see. Lizzo retires to spend more time at Texas Roadhouse, wolfing down entire buckets of those delicious rolls. Lizzo. Okay. Man dreams about glory days of playing video games at the demo kiosk while mom shopped. Right? Yeah, he's staring out from his 9 to 5 office window there, dreaming about anything but a dead-end job that just seems to be on a repeat loop day after day. Okay, let's see. Canceled. Card game. Canceled club. A party game where you try to get your friends canceled. Great, terrible fun. Well, I guess that's as good as losing it at Monopoly, huh? And okay, well, that's all we got from the Babylon Bee. Let's see. What else have we got? Well, we got Verity and genetic modification and myself in the chat rooms. What, I leave for a couple days and everybody disappears and doesn't come back. No, they'll show up eventually. Hopefully by the end of the show. And yeah, I know there are people watching. So hello to all you. Come on, jump in the chat room over there, wherever you're at. Come on over to First Amendment Radio. Or what would you like to talk about? What's in the news that, send me a link or a text at this number right here. And help me out a little bit. Okay, well, let's see what else we got. Let's see. This is, no, we're going to do this. No, this one here. Oh, what happened to my link? Ice cold. I'll find it during the break. I got a break coming up. But, now that's too long to do before the break. Oh, but maybe this is it. Oh, yeah, not the bee. That's what I was looking for. A trailer full of Bibles set on fire outside conservative pastor Greg Locke's Tennessee church on Sunday. Someone actually bought a bunch of Bibles and a trailer just to set them on fire outside a church. What it must feel like to have that much hate. Wow. Wow. Huh. Interesting. And I never thought I'd see that. Someone buy a bunch of Bibles, put them on a trailer, and light it on fire in front of a church. Yes, and I heard some tranny burnt down a church, a 117-year-old church. Where was that at? Somewhere, yeah. Another deranged person out there. This is really, yeah. So this is how the world is changing, with a biblical worldview and fleeing from the scene. The spirit of the three spirits of those devils being let loose in the earth, and the evil grows worse and worse as men become free from, yes, the restraining spirit of Christianity and God's blessing in the earth. I'll see what else we got here. This former SC quarterback, I don't know what an SCE, Securities and Exchange Commission, but he's a quarterback, so it's probably some team, right? Was swept out to sea on his fishing kayak. Check out his story of survival. It doesn't sound like a whole lot of fun, but I guess that's the helicopter pulling him out of the drink. Looks like his family is happy to see him there. Well, glad for him. Let's see, want to see hundreds of kids chase after 15,000 Easter marshmallows dropped from a helicopter. Of course you do. Really? Yeah. What do they think of next? Okay, opinion. A resurrection story from my reef tank this Easter weekend. I like shrimp. I have no idea what that means. This See, this Easter I taste tested a ridiculous number of Oreo flavors to definitively prove that they aren't as good as the original. I don't know, they probably all pretty much taste the same. That's a lot of Oreos, yeah. Okay, you are no doubt familiar with the concept of brand extensions, being assaulted with these corporate exercises and desperation with every trip to the grocery store. Yeah, that's a lot of different Oreos. Okay, well, here comes our first break, and we have just ran out of not the... Okay, I'll be back in a few minutes. Don't go anywhere.
Secrets of the Rapture. Is there a 500-year-old conspiracy? A propaganda machine so pervasive and entrenched, yet so elusive that the entire world could be taken in by it, working in plain sight, but unseen by the world for what it truly is? If prophecy is God-given history in advance, why does the prophecy that has conquered the age also exclude nearly 2,000 years of history? What is it that they are afraid that the light of history will reveal? To understand our place in time and prophecy, we must look in history for an interpretation, that which stands the test of time, that which agrees with the Word of God, and history has proven to be true. When cunning fables and fearful speculations are removed from our sight, then we may clearly see what is truly expressed in Bible prophecy, both that which has been fulfilled and that which has yet to come. God's express word is the sword that must be wielded to remove the scales from the eyes and dispel the darkness of deceitful conjecture. Secrets of the Rapture was written to expose that which the spirit of the age has conjured out of the darkness to blind the eyes of the church in the world today. Secrets of the Rapture, deconstructing pre-tribulation dispensational futurism by yours truly, Nicholas Arthur, is now available at lulu.com and Amazon. Secrets of the Rapture.
The program you are listening to is 100% sponsored by you, the listener, on this First Amendment Rights Media channel. You will notice that there are few commercials on this radio network. There's a good reason for that. Corporate advertising dollars come with strings that limit program content. So without your help, these programs cannot continue on internet or our several affiliates. If you benefit by the educational law programs, we ask you to give. If you are admonished or nurtured by the Bible and ministry programs, we ask you to give. If some voice a cause that you are passionate about, we ask you to give. If you believe in any of these, we ask you to support them as you would a missionary on a continual basis, as if giving a tithe for missionary radio. These programs are not commercially viable and must be supported by those faithful to the cause of truth. Look for the button to sponsor your favorite programs at our listen and schedule pages on the internet. We're asking you to give much less than a tithe so that you may also send support directly to a particular program host, cause, and anywhere else the Spirit may lead you. Do all to the glory of our God and Creator, for His holy nation, the only kingdom that will last forever. Thank you for listening.
Okay, I'm back. Let's see. Oh, nothing in the chat rooms. Nothing new anyway. Well, let's take a look at Redacted News here. Got their newsletter. It says, Happy Monday. I didn't see a Tuesday one. Well, I guess we'll have to go with Monday. Judge Judy is back with a new show, Judy Justice. She will sell the show this fall to compete with CBS reruns of her old show. This is not an April Fool's joke. Fun fact, Judge Judy's courtroom is not an actual courtroom. It is arbitration, a procedure where a dispute is decided by a third party out of court. That's true. Yeah. Yes, in case you missed it, King Charles did show up to Easter Sunday after speculation that maybe he would not. Yes, just in case you were wondering what's going on with the British royalty, man. Like, when did I ever care? Several studies show that drinking ice water could have deleterious effects. Yeah. So anybody out there drinking ice water? No. I gave up ice water a long time ago. Too hard on my old teeth. Okay, well we got a caller here. And let me accept this call. I hear it ring. And say your name and where you're calling from. Your name and where you're calling from? It says 0 times of talk. See, this is an unknown number. How did that happen? I swear it gave me a number, but now it says unknown number. So, sorry, I guess we just have to hang up on this one. How do I do that? Oh, I see. Yes. Okay. Yes, unknown number. That must be our ghost caller calling in. So I'll just have to pay more attention. It looked like the number just said all 9s or something like that. So, and then after I answer it, it says unknown number. I'll have to remember that. Okay, well, King Charles, yes. Ice water can have deleterious effects. So if you drink a lot of ice water, you might want to check that article out there. Turkey's Republican People's Party won local elections for the first time in 20 years, beating out President Erdogan's Justice and Development Party. Turkey. Erdogan. Justice and Development Party. Yes, indeed. So, change in Turkey. We'll see what happens there. Yeah. Turkey, yeah, that's about where the 7 churches that the Revelation were written to were in Turkey, I believe. Isn't that true? Yeah, they were in, Asia Minor. That's where Turkey is, isn't it? Pretty sure that's right. Tell me if I'm wrong. Just off the top of my brain. Okay, let's see. There's time. Serbia. Serbia has been invited to the next BRICS summit. Yes, the alternate to the other Federal Reserve scam. But little do they know that the money powers are behind both. That's right. Let's see. New York City will roll out electromagnetic scanners to scan for weapons on subways. Yeah, that'll be helpful. To scan for weapons on the subways. It's not allowed to protect yourself. See, it'll be a weapon-free zone, which means for criminals that it's open game. Yeah, game unprotected. That's what it is. Okay. Well, I'm nowhere near a subway myself, so don't have to worry about that. But If I lived in New York City, I would move, definitely. Yeah. One way or another, I would move. Okay, the president of Guyana is trending for showing no tolerance for being lectured about oil and gas exploration by the BBC. And no tolerance for being lectured about oil and gas exploration by the BBC. Yeah. That's trying to shame him for trying to provide gas and oil for his people. Yeah, better than the president we have. Let's see, Mike from Taxifornia. It's good to see you over in the see, GM, looks like you are DEW something strange in the weather. Good morning? I'm not sure what all those acronyms mean, so. Okay, anybody else? Anybody else here? Just us chickens. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu underwent surgery for a hernia this weekend. Okay, well, yeah. So, I guess that's news, because he's on the wrong side of a war, apparently. That's what they keep telling me. And moving on here, gold. 2249 up, and not really 5,000. Yeah, if it wasn't April Fool's this morning when I read gold hit $5,000, or yesterday morning, April Fool's Day. Yeah, when I first read it, I thought, oh wow, here we go. This is it. This dollar's definitely crashing if gold doubles in one day. Yeah. Silver is down, but it's $25 now, so that's up. It's up from 24 something to 25.03. Bitcoin, don't care about Bitcoin. I don't have any. Let's see. And I don't care about the rest of that stuff either. Okay, lead. U.S. doubles down on bombs to Israel. It's keeping the bomb manufacturers busy over there with Ukraine and Israel. I don't know why we're supplying them with bombs. You know, I heard they had a budget surplus. Something we haven't seen in, since when? Yeah. When did America have a budget surplus? Sometime after World War II. Oh. The U.S. is quietly giving 2,000-pound bombs that are rarely used by Western militaries anymore due to the scale of civilian casualties they can cause. Oh, we're not using these bombs because they cause, I mean, that's kind of the idea of having a bomb, you know, is to maim, kill, steal, and destroy as many people and property as you can. It's kind of what the idea of a bomb is. So they're quietly giving 2,000-pound bombs that are rarely used. Well, yeah, because if you don't have a war, where are you going to use them? Seriously. No. So there's your President Joe Biden. Yeah. And I am not for that. I am not for war. Okay. 2,000-pound bombs. According to several outlets, the U.S. authorized new packages which include more than 1,800 MK-84 2,000-pound bombs and 500 MK-82 500-pound bombs. That's a lot of bombs. Now, who's paying for these bombs? Oh, the U.S. is quietly giving them. Yeah, I guess we're paying for them. Higher prices, anyone? Higher taxes? Yeah. A little bit of inflation sprinkled in on that. Plus the price of all those illegal aliens who are getting more probably per month and rent and debit cards than I make a month? Likely. It's giving me $5,000 a month gift cards. Let's see, 2,000-pound bombs. Okay. Meanwhile, Israel outlet Haaretz reported on Sunday that Israel has created kill zones in Gaza to kill on sight anyone who enters, whether they're combatants or not. Sources say that the Israeli military will label anyone a terrorist, whether or not there is proof. So if you're there, you're a terrorist, in other words. Yeah. In practice, a terrorist is anyone the IDF has killed in areas in which its forces operate, says a reserve officer who has served in Gaza. This was a very grave incident, a senior Israeli Defense Forces told Haaretz. They were unarmed. They didn't endanger our forces in the area in which they were walking. This is a page out of the Obama administration when anyone of military age could be arbitrarily labeled as a combatant to justify their death. This is happening as the U.S. pays lip service to protecting civilians and slowing down the violence in Israel. They're not even trying. Okay, so Israel launches new attacks in Syria. So I guess they want war all around. I guess that's why Joe Biden is sending them bombs. Mm-hmm. Israel bombed the Syrian city of Aleppo on Friday, killing at least 52 people. And this weekend targeted Damascus. Why is Israel fight in Gaza extending to Syria? They say that they are targeting Hezbollah in order to limit their access to weapons. These attacks have been ongoing since long before the all-out war in Gaza, but this weekend's was the deadliest. Civilians are regular victims of these attacks. This weekend, the casualties are said to have included 38 Syrian soldiers, 7 pro-Iranian forces, 7 members of Hezbollah, as well as at least 2 civilians. Iran and Russia have both condemned it, but of course the U.S. is silent on the matter since they are currently illegally occupying Syria. Okay. See, YouTube expands its censorship policy. Well, here we go again. More censorship from YouTube. YouTube is reframing its censoring policies as responsibility. In a new blog post, the company says that its censoring policy can be summed up with 4 Rs: remove, raise, reward, reduce. Remove, raise, reward, reduce, or censor. Johanna Volek, a new chief product officer, says that YouTube will use AI to reward creators to empower creativity while also removing content that they claim violates their policy faster. Raise up authoritative voices for news, reward trusted, eligible creators, and reduce content that brushes up against their policies. That means, yes, for all of you over there on watching on YouTube, I will be seen less. Well, I'm already seen less. I'm lucky if anybody sees me at all. I'm very, very, very shadow banned on YouTube. Yeah, definitely. It's after getting, I don't know how many strikes, and I've gotten at least a dozen strikes in the last 3 or 4 years. They fall off after 90 days. And so that's how you get a dozen strikes. So I'm pretty much marked as somebody that's never going to show up accidentally on anybody's feed. Seriously. And plus there's so many creators, or if that's what you want to call them, on YouTube, content creators on YouTube, that it doesn't take much to shadow ban someone. That's for sure. So I guess word of mouth, and I'm counting on you guys. Yes. Yeah, I'm counting on you guys. Boy, I'm in poor shape, ain't I? There we are. They're treating this like a response. Okay, let's see. Reward. Yes. Oh, yeah, there it is. There's where I left up. They are treating this like a responsible thing to do while not taking responsibility for blatant censorship during the pandemic. People were deplatformed on YouTube for merely suggesting that natural immunity might be superior to vaccine immunity. YouTube has never course corrected for that. Yeah, they still will, I mean, that's what I got my last strike for, because I said the word, and I said it in relation to, I'm not sure I said the word, but yeah, I think I might have, but I was talking about my own health experience. Anyway, and if I say much more than that, I might get a strike now. Seriously, I have. It keeps happening over and over. And plus now they're just deleting videos left and right. So responsibility is not a word that they should use with a straight face. There you go. Okay, now what's trending? I have this text number up here. You guys seen any good articles or good jokes lately? Clean jokes, okay? This is Reformed Protestant radio after all. So we want it clean. And we're always looking for funny stuff. So if you see anything funny, you can text it to me any time of day or night. And whether I'm here or not, I'll see it over there on my screen. It'll show up, and I can check it out and share it with everyone. Or a story you think I should cover. Yeah, that's what the text number is there for. Or you can call in on the number, and hopefully I'll get different callers other than my my ghost caller. Of course, I get a lot more people on Wednesday morning than I do during this nighttime broadcast. I wonder how long it's going to take me to build a decent size audience, like more than 5 or 6 people showing up for a broadcast. Yes, and well, I guess late at night. Okay, well, this is it. Oh, it says +2 9999999. So I know that number is ghost caller, so I'm just going to decline that one since I know it now, and that's that. Okay, let's see what else we got here. Okay, Coleman Hughes. Missed call from unknown number. Yeah. Miss Coleman Hughes, don't know who he is, but I guess that's his face there. Just guessing. Is trending for this appearance on The View where he does IMHO. I don't know what that means. Anybody know what IMHO stands for? In my honest opinion, that's right. I remembered. I never use it, so because I think my honest opinion is, is not very valuable. It ranks up there with everybody else's honest opinion, but whatever. Let's see where he does a fabulous job presenting his case for the end of race politics without getting emotional. He takes a personal attack and rebuffs it with the issues and is more prepared than the host of the conversation. This prompted me to buy his book. So maybe we ought to check it out. Anybody who can face down the View. So here it is. All right, let's check it out.
Political analyst and author Coleman makes a case for changing the national conversation on racism in his new book, The End of Race Politics, Arguments for a Colorblind America. Please welcome Coleman Hughes. So I think the first question that I should ask you to do is explain to folks what you mean by this. Arguments for a colorblind America. What do you mean when you say that?
So a lot of people equate colorblindness to I don't see race or to pretending not to see race. I think that's a big mistake. We all see race, right? And we're all capable of being racially biased, so we should all be self-aware to that possibility. My argument is not for that. My argument is that we should try our very best to treat people without regard to race, both in our personal lives and our public policy.
Of course.
And the reason I wrote this book, thank you. The reason I wrote this book is because in the past 10 years, it has become very popular to, in the name of anti-racism, teach a kind of philosophy to our children and in general that says your race is everything. Right? And I think that is the wrong way to fight racism, and that's why I wrote this book at this time.
I'm sorry, baby.
Yeah.
Can I just point out that there is a reason for that? You know, when I went to school, getting any information about anyone's race was not taught. No history, there was no black history, none of those things were taught. And here in America, 100 years ago when I was a younger woman, that's how people saw you. That's how they judged you. So I think, I don't want to say it's your youth, but I think you have a point, but I think you have to also take into consideration what people have lived through in order to understand why there has been such a pointing of very specific racial things, like women couldn't get into colleges. If you were a black person, there were a lot of colleges wouldn't accept you. Trying to equal the playing field. I think that's what a lot of folks have been trying to do. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
I think that's your experience, and that's valid. You know, as a counterpoint, when I was in 5th grade, we all watched Roots together in public school.
Yeah.
So these are different experiences. I think it's also different generations. It's different parts of the country, right? We have very different cultures all living together in one country. So I'm not going to deny that, but I view this notion of a colorblind society similar to the idea of a peaceful society, which is to say it's an ideal, it's a North Star, and the point is not that we're ever going to get there, we're not going to touch it, but we have to know when we're going forward and when we're going backwards, and we're going backwards when we're doing woke kindergarten in San Francisco, you know, you didn't hear about this story?
No, but wait.
Wait, because I want to get to the part of the book.
Okay,
you believe that public policies that address socioeconomic differences would be better at benefiting disadvantaged groups, and that race-based policies often hurt the very people they're trying to help. What are some examples of policies that would be better at reducing racial disparities?
So my overall argument is that class, socioeconomics, is a better proxy for disadvantage. We all want to help the disadvantaged, and the question is, how do we identify them, right? The default right now in a lot of areas of policy is to use, you know, black and Hispanic identity as a proxy for disadvantage, and my argument is that you actually get a better picture of who needs help by looking at socioeconomics and income. That picks out people in a more accurate way.
Well,
right? So,
and not my question, but when you say that socioeconomics picks out people in a better way than race, when you do look at the socioeconomics, you see the huge disparity between white households and black households. You see the huge disparity between white households and Hispanic households. So your argument, and I've read your book twice because I wanted to give it a chance, your argument that race has no place in that equation is really fundamentally flawed, in my opinion.
Well, there's two separate questions. One is whether each racial group is socioeconomically the same. That I agree with you. They're not.
They're not, and the stats show that.
But of course, I agree with that fully. The question is, how do you address that in the way that actually targets poverty the best?
Great.
And what Martin Luther King wrote in his book, Why We Can't Wait, is he called it, we need a Bill of Rights for the disadvantaged. And he said, yes, we should address racial inequality. Yes, we should address the legacy of slavery. But the way to do that is on the basis of class. And that will disproportionately target blacks and Hispanics because they're disproportionately poor, but it will be doing so in a way that also helps the white poor, in a way that addresses poverty as the thing to be addressed.
That part is true, but as you are a student of Dr. King, I'm not only a student of Dr. King, I know his daughter, Bernice, right? So I'm going to get to my question.
Go ahead, go right ahead.
I think the premise is fundamentally flawed. You claim that color blindness was the goal of the civil rights movement, based upon Dr. King's I Have a Dream speech, you know, content of character versus the color of skin. Bernice, Dr. King's daughter, points out that 4 years after giving that speech, actually, Dr. King also said this: a society that has done something special against the Negro for hundreds of years must now do something special for Negroes. He also said in 1968, it was about less than a week before he was assassinated.
Oh, well, it's like I've run into a break, so I was hoping for a little more fireworks there, but it's interesting. I'll be back in a few minutes. Don't go anywhere.
The program you are listening to is 100% sponsored by you, the listener, on this First Amendment Rights Media channel. You will notice that there are few commercials on this radio network. There's a good reason for that. Corporate advertising dollars come with strings that limit program content. So without your help, these programs cannot continue on satellite, internet, or our several affiliates. If you benefit by the educational law programs, we ask you to give. If you are admonished or nurtured by the Bible and ministry programs, we ask you to give. If some voice a cause that you are passionate about, we ask you to give. If you believe in any of these, we ask you to support them as you would a missionary on a continual basis, as if giving a tithe for missionary radio. These programs are not commercially viable and must be supported by those faithful to the cause of truth. Look for the button to sponsor your favorite programs at our listen and schedule pages on the internet. We will also give you unlimited archive access to all of our programs. We're asking you to give much less than a tithe so that you may also send support directly to a particular program host, cause, and anywhere else the Spirit may lead you. Do all to the glory of our God and Creator, for His holy nation, the only kingdom that will last forever. Thank you for listening.
Hi, I'm Nicholas Arthur, and I'd like to introduce you to my latest book, Reformed Prophecy Interpretation, an apology for Reformed premillennial historicism in the 21st century. As with primitive biblical Christianity, historicism is the method of prophecy interpretation restored with the advent of the Protestant Reformation, and had become so widely held that for a long time it was called the Protestant view. My book is not so much about the errors of dispensationalism or amillennialism. Rather, it is about the historicist alternative to understanding many of the same passages from the vantage point of prophecy fulfilled in history. For those that desire more than mere hypotheses, bolstered with conjectured speculation, those who require explicit biblical exegesis and verified historical fulfillment, and are not willing to accept speculation as anything other than what it is. Speculation, not truth. This book is for you. Over the last century, this method of interpretation has become almost completely forgotten, even by Protestants, in the face of a method that is based almost entirely on future speculation, rather than fulfilled prophecy in history. In my book, I examine the reasons for this and investigate some of the prophecy which has been fulfilled in the interim, as well as present an apology for Reformed premillennial historicism to the 21st century. If you're interested in a copy of my book, you can go to my website, crosstheborder.org, and get more information there. Or you may also find it at Amazon.
All right, we are back for more of Nick at Night. That's me. Not a lot going on, but we're just going through some news headlines here. I asked for some jokes, and 23 Spyglass in the Rumble chat room says he has a dirty joke. Yeah. And a clean joke. So he says, dirty joke. A man fell into a mud puddle. Clean joke. He took a bath. Yes. Apparently it was a mud bath. But, yeah, well, I asked for it, didn't I? Anyway, thanks for that. Thanks for showing up, 23 Spyglass. All right, so Coleman Hughes trending for his appearance on The View. Sounds like he's got his head screwed on straight, even if the ladies on The View trying to rile him up. But anyway, yes, indeed. So if you're confused about race and what do they call it, critical race theory and all that stuff, and wokeness, yeah, his book is probably a good book for you. All right, Ramy Youssef is trending for having hosted Saturday Night Live this weekend. I'm guessing he's a comedian or something. Maybe you think it's funny? I don't know. Should we take a look? Do I get any votes for that? Or, well, we got a whole hour here, practically. So we might as well take a look. Let's see where, this is on YouTube. So, and there's a commercial, of course, of First. Yes, you ever notice there's a lot more commercials on YouTube? Selling Volkswagens. A video will play after the ad. So everybody run out and buy a Volkswagen. So make sure it's not electric. That's all we ask for.
Ronnie Youssef!
Your name and where you're calling from? You're on the air? Huh. Isn't that amazing? Let's see, is this number on my list or not? Let's see, 52026. No, this is a brand new number. Yeah. It's, someone told me you can get numbers for free all day long on the internet. With a little trouble, I guess, or with little trouble. And so if someone thinks it's worthwhile to continue harassing me, one day I'm going to get me a producer over here. Is that what they have to do at the other radio stations where they have producers and stuff? Or I just have to stop taking calls. I don't know what to do. Since most of my calls are someone who doesn't talk. Yeah. Okay, well, that's sad to say. But let's see, that number is, we got to write that one down here, just in case, so I don't get it again. If it calls again, I'll just, let's see, it's 919 520 2615. If you call me, I'll never say your number over the air. If you call me and talk. But, yeah, that's a bad number. Get tired of that. Okay. All right. So I don't know who Ramy Youssef is, but he's on Saturday Night Live. I don't know why they think it's important, but they do. And these people I've never heard of before. Chance Perdomo is trending. The 27-year-old actor died from an unknown cause this weekend. You know, what's the first thing you think of when you hear that someone died from an unknown cause? 27-year-old actor dies from an unknown cause? What do you think, you guys? What's that from? Oh, dare I say it on YouTube? Yeah, we don't even have to say it. We know what a 7-year-old actor dying from an unknown cause. We know it happened. And it's going to keep happening for a while, especially if they're an actor, because a lot of them had to, to keep their jobs. They had to do it. They trusted the science. Fauci, that's what he said. I am the science. So they trusted the science, and that's what you get for trusting in pharmakia, man. Sorry for you. Sorry for your family. Sorry for their loss. Okay, news by the numbers. So I think the biggest genocide, even bigger than what's going on in Gaza, was what happened just in America over the last 3 years. I don't know what the number is, but I'm sure it's exceeded 1 million or 2. Yeah, I'm sure it's up in the millions. Okay, 70 million. That's how many AT&T customers had their data breached. Yeah, I gave up AT&T a long time ago. That's right. But I guess about, how long has it been since I gave up all my phones, my local phone lines with AT&T? Or whatever it was. The Bell companies. Okay, 1 year. That's how long Wall Street Journal reporter Evan Gershkovich has been in prison for allegedly spying in Russia after his boss has set him on an extremely dangerous reporting job. Recently, Russian President Putin told Tucker Carlson that negotiations for his release are ongoing. How much do you want to bet his release will come in advance of the 2024 presidential election? Well, let's see. It depends. Biden has to give something to Russia, but will Putin release them for Biden? Yeah. Seems unlikely. Now, because if he gets released, all they have to do is say, well, it was because he was on Tucker Carlson's show, and probably roll out all of the credit to Trump instead. Yeah. Or save it for Trump. So, I don't know. I wouldn't want to make any bet either way on this one. What do you guys think? Yes, indeed. Well, we shall see. Any more good jokes out there? Any links with good jokes? I guess I'm just going to have to spend some time during the week and pile up a bunch of videos or whatever jokes. All right, let's see what else. 13.9%. That's how much the IMF projects the economy of Macau will grow next year after growing 80.5% last year. Wow. 80.5%? Making it, according to the Financial Times, one of the world's fastest growing economies. How big is Macau? I don't even know where Macau is. Do you guys know where Macau is? Yeah, I'm kind of curious where Macau is. I'm not even certain I'm saying Macau right, but let's see. Search for Macau. Let's do a search for Macau. There's 55 hotels in Macau. Let's see. Images for Macau. Okay. Well, it's like a big city somewhere. We have a map here. Let me see where Macau is. Macau, the map. Oh, Hong Kong. Is Macau now called Hong Kong? Or is it just next to Hong Kong? But yeah. Okay, well, maybe. Let's see. 23rd dying from very Waco medicine. Oh, 32 dying. Wacko medicine advice. Yes. Okay, says Mick in the chat room. But I'm still trying to figure out where Macau is. That an island? It's near Hong Kong, I guess. But it's not Hong Kong. Well, that would make sense. Since China took over Hong Kong, I guess if Macau is still independent from China. Huh. Images, video, web. Let's see. Where is Macau? Travel. TripAdvisor. Oh, Wikipedia. Here we go. We can use Wikipedia, something they won't have to spin for us. Let's see. Macau Special Administrative Region of the People's Republic of China. Special Administrative Region. Special, with a population about 680,000. It is, so that's Macau is in China, next to Hong Kong, I guess. Okay, yeah. But yeah, have an 80% growth in your economy, that's 280,000 people. So that's kind of a localized growth. Just curious. So, let's see. Oh, yeah. White House celebrates transgenderism on Easter Sunday. And their excuse is that, well, yeah, it was April 31st before it was, but they should have known. I mean, that they were going to mess with Easter Sunday at least some year. Because it would fall on Easter Sunday sometime, but yeah. The White House celebrated Trans Sunday, also happened to be Easter Sunday, created a lot of division online. Why the White House would usurp a Christian holiday for gender dysphoria, which already has many other annual events. I mean, how many events do they need? Yeah. Come on, where's White Supremacy Day? If it's a thing, shouldn't we celebrate it? Okay. Yes, indeed. Anyway, that ends redacted news. Okay. Oh, here it is. Get ready to pay 50%. Oh, this is from Sovereign Man. You probably heard the news. Environmental Protection Agency recently finalized new vehicle emission regulations that essentially force Americans into buying electric vehicles. The actual published regulation is 1,181 pages long because that's what the U.S. economy needs. 1,000 more pages added to the 200,000 plus existing pages in the Code of Federal Regulations. Okay, got distracted there. But essentially, EPA is forcing vehicle manufacturers to adhere to extremely strict emission requirements that will be virtually impossible to meet, given that over 90% of consumers currently purchase gasoline-powered vehicles, what they're trying to end. Which, if they all have electric vehicles and they don't fix the grid, nobody will be driving anything unless you're very, very, very rich, I reckon. But hopefully, I don't trust Kennedy. I think he's still an environmental wacko. So sorry. Trump might back this off if he gets in. So unfortunately, I don't trust Trump either. But of the three choices there, well, if I had to choose one of three choices, I think I'd go with Trump because I think Kennedy showed his wackiness by vice presidential pick. It may help him win over Joe Biden, but whatever. Yeah, we'll just have to live with whatever the result is, right? Live or die with it. So electrical vehicles are already more expensive. Everybody already knows. But this new EPA rule is especially idiotic because the current U.S. electrical grid cannot support 50% of cars being electric. And there is no plan to get it there. Of course, there is no plan to get it there. Okay. Mike says, Nicholas, by the time we can respond, you are on 2 stories beyond our responses. Okay. Yeah, it's hard to keep up with the chat room, and some of the responses are a little cryptic, so I can't even really understand them either. So, because I don't know what 32 dying from very wacko medicine advice. It's very, yeah. So I guess the best thing to do is call in and talk to me. Say, hey, you were just talking about this. Well, I got this to say about it because, I want this program to be about the listener too. So I would love to be interrupted. I would love to back up and rehash something I did 3 minutes ago. Wouldn't bother me at all. I mean, I don't have a lineup. I don't have a schedule that I'm following. I'm just kind of, looking at a lot of this stuff for the first time myself. I did scan this story earlier. But so guess we need to, but then I have to look at 3 different chat rooms. So that's a problem too, because the chat room's not in front of me. It's over off onto the side. And, well, the First Amendment Radio chat room's right in front of me. Nobody's saying anything in there, except Jesuit Fiend at the beginning of the show says, I can hear you now. So, Guy Fawkes Caller is interrupting you regularly. Yes, yeah. I guess he just gets free numbers and regularly calls me. But if I see that no number thing again, I won't even answer it. I'll just kill it because it said 2999999. I remember seeing that before. I thought that's a peculiar number, but I answered it, and then after I answer it says unknown number, meaning that it's blocked. So someone's blocking their number. Okay, let's see. So we all know about the whole thing with the electric vehicles. All I can say is to stop buying them. I have an old 1998 Nissan pickup, and I have a 2004 Dodge. What do you call those? Not a trades, something. They're high-end van for that day anyway. And I was thinking maybe I ought to buy a couple just for parts so I can keep them running until 2055. What do you think? Seem like a good idea? Yeah. Yeah, just for parts. Because parts are getting harder to find. California has passed a law against selling parts for cars that are older than, like diesel engines and stuff. So I am still sitting here with the crankshaft for my tractor sitting over here on the floor because I can't get a new crankshaft. I can't get that one fixed. But I can get motor parts, but my mechanic can't buy them because it's against the law. Because I guess he has some kind of license, California license for mechanic stuff, so it's illegal for him to buy parts. But he said, if you buy the parts and give them to me, I can do it. But he says, I can't get the parts. So, but I can't find a crankshaft. So but I can find all the other parts. So I'm just, we'll get around to it. But the tractor's like a 1978 diesel. But my neighbor has a newer tractor, and it's smaller, and I used it, and it just does not dig. You cannot disc deep with it. Not in the ground I got anyway. So it just works horribly. It has no power at all whatsoever. But I'm sure it's environmentally friendly. Yeah. Let's see. April 1st, Transgen Day would have been less to tolerate, and we may have got, yeah, that's a good idea. Why didn't you tell Joe Biden about that? Yeah. But it's a good idea after the fact. Yeah, we would have gotten a kick out of it. But no, see, they would think that is shameful. It's as if they are not shameful already. But they just want us, they got all these days for these people that are doing all these awful things with all their dysphoria. And it doesn't make it better. But they want us to celebrate it. No, thank you. If I want to barf, that's how I feel when they put a commercial on or something and there's two men kissing. I want to barf. And going, yeah. But, yes. Babylon Bee should have named it Transgender Day. Okay, we'll have to save that one for next year. Okay. Maybe we could write a petition, to change Transgender Day to April 1st, because then everybody would be happy, right? They would be happy because they still get to interrupt a well-known holiday. I guess it's a holiday. Yeah. So there we go. Oh, to reach the EPA's goal, essentially all of these would need to be replaced with it, and it'd have a higher capacity. Currently, only about 660 transformers are replaced each year. So at this rate, America should be ready for the EPA's mandate by the year 2145. Yeah. So that's more than 100 years future. That's how long it's going to take to replace all of the transformers in America so everybody can have an electric car instead of a gas-powered one. But I think their real goal is that nobody has cars. Yeah, that you all live in your 15-minute cities. You have your pod, right? And only Bill Gates and people like him will be able to farm. That's right, because by 2145, they'll probably, or his corporations or trusts or whatever, the Bill and Melinda Gates Trust will probably own all the farmland in America. But thankfully, the good news is that Jesus is coming coming first. We can expect the 7th millennium to begin about 2055. So, and of course, that blessed era of the millennial reign of Christ concurrent with it. But the skyrocketing prices, parts may be smart. So if you have older vehicles like I do, and you can buy part cars for them, ones that are on their last legs, just for parts, and maybe buy parts while they're still available before they become unavailable for a motor rebuild or something like that. I mean, look what they did in Cuba, man. They're still driving 1950s cars down there, 40s and 50s cars, 60s cars. Yeah. Got a lot of classics down in Cuba. They even have to make some of their own parts. This will also, this will drive up the cost of each transformer, which will already risen by 70% since 2018. They also have to source special kind of steel that exactly one producer in the U.S. makes. The company is called Cleveland Cliffs. Remember them? Yes. Remember them. They're going to buy U.S. steel. Anyway, there's my tone for the final break. I'll check all the chat rooms, so get it there for me if you have any suggestions, news stories, jokes, links, and because we got another half hour to go here before my automation runs me out. Okay, I'll be back in a few minutes. Don't go anywhere.
The program you are listening to is 100% sponsored by you, the listener, on this First Amendment Rights Media channel. You will notice that there are few commercials on this radio network. There's a good reason for that. Corporate advertising dollars come with strings that limit program content. So without your help, these programs cannot continue on satellite, internet, or our several affiliates. If you benefit by the educational law programs, we ask you to give. If you are admonished or nurtured by the Bible and ministry programs, we ask you to give. If some voice a cause that you are passionate about, we ask you to give. If you believe in any of these, we ask you to support them as you would a missionary on a continual basis, as if giving a tithe for missionary radio. These programs are not commercially viable and must be supported by those faithful to the cause of truth. Look for the button to sponsor your favorite programs at our listen and schedule pages on the internet. We will also give you unlimited archive access to all of our programs. We're asking you to give much less than a tithe so that you may also send support directly to a particular program host, cause, and anywhere else the Spirit may lead you. Do all to the glory of our God and Creator, for His holy nation, the only kingdom that will last forever. Thank you for listening.
Visit crosstheborder.org, CROSS, crosstheborder.org, to get your print, EPUB, or PDF version of Nicholas Arthur's new book titled When the Third Temple is Built. That's crosstheborder.org. When it comes to prophecy today, much of the evangelical Christian world has their eyes on Israel, waiting and watching to see when the third temple will begin to be built. The plans are drawn. The Jewish people are eager. Most evangelical Christians today believe that the rapture will happen before the third temple is built. Hi, I'm Michael Eugene. I was taught that Daniel's 70th week was in the future. Is that really what the Bible teaches? Have we searched the scriptures and found this to be true? Why is it so important for a re-established Israel to build a third temple in Jerusalem? Is it necessary to build a temple on the same location already occupied by the Dome of the Rock? Is it necessary for sacrifices to take place in the temple on Temple Mount? Is there really a rapture followed by 7 years of tribulation? What is the New Testament temple? Can we identify history and prophecy? Who is the first beast in Revelation chapter 13? Who are the 7 kings in Revelation 17? I have asked all these questions, and I have found Nicholas Arthur's new book, When the Third Temple is Built, answers all these questions and more using Scripture to interpret Scripture. The Bible says that no prophecy of Scripture is of any private interpretation. Nicholas shows us in his new book, When the Third Temple is Built, how the Bible interprets prophecy and not man's private interpretation. Visit crosstheborder.org, CROSS, crosstheborder.org, to get your print, EPUB, or PDF version of Nicholas Arthur's new book titled When the Third Temple is Built. That's crosstheborder.org.
All right, we're back. Let's see. Nothing in the chat room's going on. The trans business is keeping our weight down. I don't know what I mean. What that means, the world would no longer need Coke and a smile. We'd have April 1st Trans Day. To rate these governments are so war hungry, I really wonder how much time is really left. Well, there's a lot of people that are talking about it's World War III and World War III is going to start. And it might not. I don't know. Seems like some people want it really bad. They say it's already started. I thought war was war, but I mean, there's always been some kind of war going on ever since I can remember, somewhere else. Could it come to America? Well, I think they're trying really hard to start a civil type war here between what? The woke and the unwoke? I don't know. And then bringing all of these emptying all the prisons out of all of these other countries and the insane asylums and sending them all to America. I guess they'd all be glad to come here. Could this all be good for the economy? Yeah, maybe in 40 years. Oh, we don't have 40 years, do we? Yeah, maybe in 40 years, but until then, yeah. Okay, so what next? Electric vehicles is not going to work. So, as I said, if you got an older car, buy some parts cars for it, because you may not be able to get parts if the governor of California and the legislature of California has anything to say about it, because I'm sure they're going to do every woke thing they can to do away with your gasoline automobile in California. I don't spend that much time driving around anyway, so I'm not really excited to go on any trips or anything. Okay. Let's see, what else do I got here? What else do I got? How about bring back gold? Yeah. Okay, this from Lou Rockwell himself. In these days of rampant inflation, it's imperative that we return to the gold standard. Well, I agree. I wish it would happen. And the real thing, too. You got to say that. You got to say gold standard and the real thing, too. By this, I mean the classical gold standard, not the so-called gold exchange standard with no fractional reserve banking, just as the great Murray Rothbard wanted. In what follows, I'll discuss some of the economic issues below, but it's important to realize that it's a moral issue as well. Let's see. Genetic modification says cellular energy diminishing. Nicholas, what does that mean? Cellular energy diminishing? Does that have to do with your genetic modification? Or is that the joke? Let's see. Oh, this looks like that's fine. Yeah. So I don't know what that means, cellular energy diminishing. Yes. Unless that means I'm getting tired, but I'm not really. Yes, bring back gold. That's where we were at. The historical embodiment of monetary freedom is the gold standard. True, the era of its greatest flourishing was not coincidentally in the 19th century, the century in which classic liberal ideology reigned, a century of unprecedented material progress and peaceful relations between nations. Unfortunately, the monetary freedom represented by the gold standard, along with many other freedoms of the classical liberal era, was brought to a calamitous end by World War I. Yeah, that's true. Also, and not so coincidentally, this was the war to make the world safe for democracy. A political system which we have all learned by now is the great enemy of freedom in all its social and economic manifestations. Now, it is true that the gold standard did not disappear overnight, but limped along and weakened in the form until the early 1930s. But this was not the pre-1914 classical gold standard, in which the actions of private citizens operating free markets ultimately controlled the supply and value of money, and governments had very little influence. Yeah, speaking of America here. Under this monetary system, people in one nation demanded more money to carry out more transactions, or because they were more uncertain of the future, they would export more goods and financial assets to the rest of the world while importing less. As a result, additional gold would flow in through a surplus in the balance of payments, increasing the nation's money supply. Not only that, there would be more people out looking for gold and silver, if we were using gold and silver, real money. Yeah. Sometimes private banks tried to inflate the money supply by issuing additional banknotes and deposits called fiduciary media, promising to pay gold, but unbacked by gold reserves. Yeah, that was the beginning of what we fiat currency, paper money. All right, I guess we'll take a chance here on this caller and see what we can do. Your name and where you're calling from? More silence. Okay, where did my paper go to? Here it is. Let's see if I 419. Well, this is a new number here. Okay. Okay, someone has nothing better to do. This poor soul has nothing better to do. Sometimes private banks try to inflate the money supply by issuing additional banknotes and deposits called fiduciary media, promising to pay gold but unbacked by gold reserves. They lent these notes and deposits to either businesses or government. However, as soon as the borrower spent these additional fractional reserve notes and deposits, domestic incomes and prices would begin to rise. As a result, foreigners would reduce their purchases of the nation's exports, and domestic residents would increase their spending on the relatively cheap foreign imports. Gold would flow out of the coffers of the nation's banks to finance the resulting trade deficit, as the excess paper notes and checks were returned to their issuers for redemption in gold. To check this outflow of gold reserves, which made their depositors very nervous, the banks would contract the supply of fiduciary media, bring about a monetary deflation and ensuing depression. Yes, that would be you have a bank and you're writing notes for gold or money you don't have and loaning it out at interest. That's where all your fiat and fractional usury banking began, with dishonest bankers. And the Antichrist thought, looks like a good plan. We need to run this scam on the whole world. And look what they've done. They loan American people money, Federal Reserve notes, and we pay them interest for it. It's a nice scam if you can get it, right? Not really. Okay, so yes, I have, what strike is this caller? I just got 2 strike ones just now. Yeah, today so far. And 2 unknowns. Yeah. So 2 new numbers. Yeah, not on my list. I have an old list here. And I've X'd most of the numbers off of it already by giving them 2 strikes. Thus, governments and commercial banks under the gold standard did not have much influence over the money supply in the long run. Only sizable inflations that occurred during the 19th century did so during wartime when almost all belligerent nations would go off the gold standard. They did so in order to conceal the staggering costs of war from their citizens by printing money rather than raising taxes to pay for it. Huh. Oh, that's supposed to be happening. Okay. Let's see, watching the comments over here. What a racket. Yes, indeed. What a racket it is. Something you would go to jail for if you tried it. See, only the Federal Reserve has a license to counterfeit money in America. All other counterfeiters will be prosecuted. Just ask Bankman-Fried. What a name, Bankman-Fried, now in jail for 20 years. Yeah, after he gave all that money to his buddies, all those Republicans, look how they threw him under the bus. They all got the money. Where did those billions go? Yeah, that's right. Oh, Biden just might, on his way out of office, just might set him free. You never know. Because you know what? If they don't set their buddies free, then other people might catch on, and not be so willing to be used by him the way this guy was used. Let's see, Nicholas's Black Book of Strikes is going to grow exponentially at this rate. Yeah. Well, you might think if ghost callers didn't call me, I'd get no calls at all. So, hey, April Fools. Yes. Yeah, yesterday didn't have a show. Guess it's a good thing. Actually, I was just so busy. Before I do it, it was after 9 o'clock, and I went, oh. Wow. But unless I get in here and interrupt the automation to do my, yeah. Yes, indeed, the irony, Bankman-Fried. Okay, within weeks of the outbreak of World War I, all belligerent nations departed from the gold standard. Needless to say, by the war's end, the paper fiat currencies of all these nations were in the throes of inflations of varying degrees of severity, with the German hyperinflation that culminated in 1923 being the worst. To put their currencies back in order to restore the public's confidence in them, one country after another reinstituted the gold standard during the 1920s. Unfortunately, the new gold standard of the 20s was fundamentally different from the classical gold standard. For one thing, under this later version, gold coin was not used in daily transactions. Great Britain, for example, the Bank of England would only redeem pounds in large and expensive bars of gold bullion. But gold bullion was mainly used for financial international trade transactions. Other countries, such as Germany and smaller countries of Central and Eastern Europe, used gold convertible foreign currencies such as the U.S. dollar or the pound sterling as a reserve for their own domestic currencies. This was called the gold exchange standard, because up until the 60s, the dollar was backed with silver and gold. But that all changed. They gave us those copper-clad coins that they can't even afford to make now. Yes, indeed. While the U.S. dollar was technically redeemable to honest-to-goodness gold coin, banks no longer held reserves in gold coin, but in Federal Reserve notes, all gold reserves were centralized by law in the hands of the Fed, and banks were encouraged to use Fed notes to cash checks and pay for checking and saving deposit withdrawals. This meant that very little gold coin circulated among the public in the 20s, and residents of all nations became increasingly to view the paper IOUs of their central banks as the ultimate embodiment of the dollar, franc, pound, etc. This state of affairs gave governments and the central banks much greater leeway for manipulating the national money supplies. Bank of England, for example, could expand the amount of paper claims to gold pounds through the banking system without fearing a run on its gold reserve for two reasons. Foreign countries and the gold exchange standard would be willing to pile up the paper pounds that flowed out of Great Britain through its balance of payments deficit, not demand immediate conversion to gold. In fact, by issuing their own currency to tourists and exporters in exchange for the increasing quantities of inflated paper pounds, foreign central banks were in effect inflating their own money supplies in lockstep with the Bank of England. This drove up prices in their own countries to the inflated level attained by British prices and put an end to the British deficits. See, people know little about the history of money in this country. They have no idea. They're so ignorant and don't even seem to care. They just want more money. And you look at young people today and they think things were always the way they are now. The prices were always like they are or going up all the time for some unknown reason, which they can't fathom because they have no way of knowing. They have nothing. But when you get old, like me and others, even people our age, they grew up during this era that he's talking about now, where we had a gold standard, but nothing was redeemable in gold. As a matter of fact, it became illegal for citizens of the U.S. to redeem their paper Federal Reserve notes in gold and silver. And they confiscated all the gold unlawfully. The government had no right to do that. What, because the Federal Reserve wanted it that way? This government organization that many people believe was part of our government, but wasn't. So people were deceived. And of course, we know who's behind it all. The Antichrist himself and his shadow government. They are the ones who own all the money. Mike says, I remember a field trip to Fort Knox in the 1970s and actually seeing the gold. Yeah. That was, let's see, it was the 60s when they did away with silver coins and they undid the gold stand. They closed the gold window, in other words, at the end of the 60s because, let's see, Nixon was president, I remember. I was just a teenager going on my way, I thought, to Vietnam, but they ended the draft just in time because my lottery number was 5. That meant then that you were going. So I don't know if I would have gone or not. I might have gone to Canada instead, because I heard that was a thing at the time. But I didn't want to go to Canada unless I had to. Yeah, we have to travel to China to see it now. Really? Well, you can own gold now. I mean, they did make it legal to buy gold shortly after they did that. So, because before you couldn't buy gold coins, now the Treasury sells them. So, of course, now to buy a gold piece, you're going to have to pay nearly $3,000 for an ounce, 1 ounce, or $50 gold piece. I think that's what they denominate them now, $50. But those dollars are not the same as Federal Reserve note dollars. Not the same thing. $50 gold is actually $50 gold, but it's not. It's like I said, with the premium you have to pay on the coin, it's likely nearly $3,000 to buy a gold coin now. But don't worry. Yeah. I think by the end of the year, you'll have to pay nearly $4,000 for that gold coin. Yeah. If it goes up to $3,000 or $5,000, definitely. If you're going to want to buy, you better buy gold and silver now. I would buy silver because it's still a bargain at $24 or $25. It's still a bargain because when the proverbial economic stuff hits the fan, silver will have its day. And you would be like, well, you're going to have to pay a premium on silver right now too, but whatever it is, it'll be worth it if you can. Go down to your local SWAT. What do you call them? What do they call those stores where you sell pawn shop? Yeah, and they usually have some there, and we'll sell it for bullion price, and maybe a small premium, whatever it's worth. Or they might even have, off-brand gold, silver rounds and stuff like that you can get cheaper that are still an ounce or 999% pure. But the most recognizable would even be 90% silver U.S. minted coins. If you want something that people will accept and they know when they see it that it's not a knockoff, or they know what it is. So real money, will become valuable in the economic crash that seems to be coming our way. But don't worry, the Antichrist and his shadow government, his money, his bankers, they have a plan for a one world digital currency, most likely, and which the Bible calls the mark of the beast. Monetary system that you can't buy or trade, or you can't buy or sell without. That's the word, buy or sell. Trading, you could do a lot of trading, but that might be unlawful. Money laundering or whatever. Yeah, because you're not reporting it. There's genetic modification says, Mike says he's going to go to the pawn shop and says, I'll let you know how it went. Yeah, do let me know. Likely scheduled for this year, says genetic modification. They're working on it. Joe Biden, several years ago, issued executive orders for all of the departments of the executive branch to work on transferring over to CBDC. Extreme likelihood, many elements converging, especially occult high days. Yeah, indeed. But even if gold reserves were to drain out the vaults of the Bank of England or the Fed to foreign nations, British U.S. citizens would be disinclined, either by law or custom, to put further pressure on their respective central banks to stop inflating by threatening banks. So we're still looking in the past here. This is quite a lengthy article, and I'm starting to run out of time. The power to create money is the most ominous power ever bestowed upon any human being. The power is rightly criminalized when it is exercised by private individuals. And even today, everyone knows why counterfeiting is wrong and knavish. Far fewer are aware of the role of the federal government. Yes, they have a license. The Federal Reserve has a license to counterfeit. Anyone can make a gold round. Yeah. And it would be money. And it would not be counterfeiting if you made your own gold round or 10th gold round. The only thing is, would people trust it? That would be the question. And we're going to find that out, I think, coming up here with the economic upheaval that seems to be on the horizon here. Hopefully, we can get the right president and maybe back this off for a few more years, maybe another 20 years. Who knows? We'll see. Pray and resist. That's the best thing we can do. First, pray that you're doing right by God, that you're living a life that's obedient to Him, and pray for His blessing on America and our nation. Yeah, that's all we can do. Okay, I've run out of time. May the Almighty bless you and keep you as you travel on the narrow way that leads to life. I'll see you next time.
Secrets of the Rapture. Is there a 500-year-old conspiracy? A propaganda machine so pervasive and entrenched, yet so elusive that the entire world could be taken in by it, working in plain sight, but unseen by the world for what it truly is? If prophecy is God-given history in advance, why does the prophecy that has conquered the age also exclude nearly 2,000 years of history? What is it that they are afraid that the light of history will reveal? To understand our place in time and prophecy, we must look in history for an interpretation, that which stands the test of time, that which agrees with the Word of God, and history has proven to be true. When cunning fables and fearful speculations are removed from our sight, then we may clearly see what is truly expressed in Bible prophecy, both that which has been fulfilled and that which has yet to come. God's express word is the sword that must be wielded to remove the scales from the eyes and dispel the darkness of deceitful conjecture. Secrets of the Rapture was written to expose that which the spirit of the age has conjured out of the darkness to blind the eyes of the church in the world today. Secrets of the Rapture, deconstructing pre-tribulation.
American Family News, I'm Rusty Pugh. The federal tax case against President Biden's son will go forward.
A federal judge denying 8 motions to dismiss tax charges against Hunter Biden. Abby Lowell, the lawyer for President Biden's son, argued, among other things, prosecutors caved to pressure from Republicans. Hunter Biden has pleaded not
October 7th terrorist attack. So now Israel is putting forward this official request via a proposal to the UN that they do away with this agency once and for all. The State Department is standing by UNRWA, saying that the group is really the only hope now to try and prevent a complete famine inside Gaza. So now the UN Secretary General insists UNRWA is